It is not bright outside, but it's Bright's inside. We are at Bright's Antique World in Franklin, Kentucky, right near the Tennessee border. This is one exit north of Tennessee, and this is another place that's been a big antique destination for a while. We've recorded here from a flea market that they had, but we've really not shown the inside before, and it is another big, interesting antique mall. Well, right in the door we find some really cool things. 50% off items with the green slash tag. I wish these had a green slash because I love the shape and color of those, and especially those fantastic shades. I don't expect that these are going to be discounted though. They are priced at $2.95 for the pair, which is a fair price. There would be a little bulb that sat there too. It's a little night light. That's the flea market that we came to before here, but now they have an official building for it just up the hill, so Brighton Park they call it. First and third Saturday through November. Well, Zeno just noticed this. This is a Chalet glass splash bowl. It's priced at $55. They have 20% off everything. That makes it $44, and if there's no chips on the end, but there is right there, darn it, because that would have been mine otherwise. This is Vancouver Orange, Chalet of Canada, named it after Vancouver because that was the hip new place to be moving in the 60s when this was made. DX, that's a gas station name we don't hear anymore. No extra cost. $36 is actually not a bad price for them. I would look for the one in less chipped shape. These would have been in the windows of gas pumps back in the 50s and 60s before they changed to the square pumps. This is really cool because it matches the blue heaven pattern of dishware. Zeno is very kindly going to take that up to the counter. They do have some really cool things in here. The old Carnation fresh milk sign is good. Dad's root beer, that's in really clean shape, but $600 is really a lot. Even though these are really good and really clean. And advertising is really expensive and collectible now, it's still a bit of a push. I do not understand the little chenille figure in there. That must have been for a child, but that's actually kind of strangely cute. How much is that? $32.50 minus 20%. That's so odd.
It is.
I don't know if it's good odd or bad odd.
There's your number.
Ah, number one. Wow.
Number one.
My goodness.
For picking things up. So.
Okay, thank you. I will stick that in my pocket. A lot of places that are big like this, they give you a number so they can keep all your stuff in one place at the counter. Yeah, that is the strangest little children's purse. Roseville teapot set, and this actually is pretty good price. With the discount, it is only about $90. I was hoping maybe this would be a big bargain because it doesn't look like anything else in the space. It's fairly priced, and with the 20% off, it's a pretty decent price, but not quite cheap enough for resale. It's about retail at $110. Across the aisle, more advertising of various eras. Fram oil, that's a vintage one from an auto garage in great shape. Priced with the discount at about $325. I like the old framed Havana cigar sign. This would do well in Florida. Anything cigar related is popular there because Tampa was such a big center for the Cuban population early on, back when Miami didn't really exist. A lot of Cubanos moved there and cigars became the big industry for a while. This place is really big and there are a lot of nice quality items in here. I found one thing to send up to the counter already, which is pretty good because I don't think of this as necessarily being a wholesale location, but you know, if you're in a big store like this, you're likely to find something if you really spend your time looking. There's the larger version of the cranberry coin dot vase that we saw at the mall up the road in Bowling Green. We usually see the Hazel Atlas sailboats classes in the cobalt blue. These are in the red. Now notice that the white is starting to kind of wear, and that's unfortunate. It just means with age and possibly dishwashing, they're in acceptable condition, but they're not really perfect. But they're really inexpensive, only $22.95 for the 4. Abingdon flower frog vase. It may look strange by itself. It does have the original label, but the idea was that you would arrange flowers in it, and then you have this vase with this wonderful bunch of stuff coming out of it, and it had this tall bottom so it could sit in a larger bowl in the middle of the table if you wanted. Neat metal cabinet here. Seems like it's in great condition. This looks like something that might have been in a doctor's office, and it does say it's a medical cabinet from about 1950. Nice art moderne design. They have it at $9.50. And then in there we have, well, ooh, she is having a wardrobe malfunction. And that's so surprising because it's advertising a clothes shop. Apparently this poor lady really needs some clothes. What's really cool though is that as soon as I opened the door, the light came on in the cabinet. So that's a pretty neat thing. $100 for the old calendar, which I suspect has a few other lovely ladies in it. The Exhibitionist, oh my, these pulp fictions that are naughty from the 50s actually are worth some good money. This one's $10. Just the cover graphics are very popular to reproduce as t-shirts and things now. And then the new Thrill in Nash, this is $50. The designers borrowed heavily from the Graham cars that were going out of business and eventually ended up being part of Kaiser Frazer. There is your Ambassador. Nash ended up being the mainstay of the American Motors Company, and that's why Ambassador came up as a name later in the 60s and 70s for cars again. This one is a 1940. They have some censorship going on there, but there are Betty Page postcards and playing cards. The thing about Betty Page is that she was really a lot more famous after her time than she was during her time, so we don't really see much that's original. These are all later reprints. Very pretty Whiting and Davis with no missing tiles, no missing paint. They have that priced at $165. Oh, you've never seen a slag glass? Yeah, Kanawa, I think, was the...
Slag glass, but not the shoe.
Not the shoe, yeah. I think they might have been the only ones who did the shoes in slag glass. The On the Air?
Is that metal, you think?
It looks like metal and glass, but it could be plastic. No, it's probably plastic. It might be a wood frame and plastic. You'd really have to take it out to say for sure.
Look
that
at the chipped paint off, isn't that showing metal?
I think it's metal. Probably lightweight metal though. And
That'd be fun. That would be good to have for live.
that would be fun for live streams, and it looks like something from the early 80s actually. Lucille Ball was not just a comedic actress. She was in a lot of fairly serious movies in the 1940s, and here is an original photo from her at that time. Quite a lovely looking woman. The Lucy character kind of made us forget about all of that though. The Franklin Lady from Franklin, Tennessee. We are in Franklin, Kentucky. Franklin, Tennessee is on the other side of Nashville from here. A Shyrick kitchen cupboard. I really like the Art Deco shape. Someone has repainted this one. It probably was white originally though. They did come in other colors, and the other colors can be rather valuable. That one's priced at $455. The Scandalous Outfit. Oh yes, showing a bit of cleavage even. Very naughty for the 1890s. This Panther is Waterford, and it is heavy, as Waterford usually is when it's this dense. I'm looking for the mark that says Waterford on it, and this one is actually marked on the side right there. So it is a Waterford piece. That seems, for a really big, heavy piece of crystal, like a pretty good deal to me. $49. I wonder if they're doing any sales in this booth. Please do not touch the chalkboard. Well, I can understand why, because somebody went to a lot of trouble to do that. Mural of that kitty on that neat old chalkboard. Do you call this folk art? It's a pole dancer candle.
Well, it's appropriately by the politicians. That's my favorite part.
I don't think FDR was going out with any pole dancers. This is an interesting piece you point out here. This is a pictogram from 1940. Record vote elects Roosevelt Wallace, breaking a tradition as old as the Republic. President Roosevelt has been elected to a third term because before the Constitution was changed, the president could run as many times in a row as they wanted. Now they are only supposed to have 2 terms. When train travel became more inexpensive, you would see what at the time were considered fairly inexpensive frames, flat frames with gesso work around lithograph pictures of scenes along the railways. And this is along the Denver and Rio Grande. This is priced at $140. Rather unusual and in good condition. Here are some big old blow molds and a whole lot of reproduction cast iron. I'm going to show you this quickly so you know what to look for. Obviously, no wear on painted things that should be worn is one obvious thing, but there's also other clues like The seaming is loose. See how it opens up at the top where you can see daylight through it. They never would have allowed that on an original. I like that piece.
Yeah, you should get it.
You think so?
No, you're gonna say it's dirty inside or something, but look at how much it is. That's it.
85. Well, it's not bad. That does seem like these days a good price for what it is. And then this is a nice Empoli piece with a fancy bottom. I sold one with a keyhole bottom with a heart in it recently like that for about the same price. Ah, treasure craft.
It's a call.
It's a little worn. Unfortunately, people would get overzealous, and this is a brushed in glaze. It is not a fired on glaze, so it will come off if you put it in the dishwasher or wash it wrong. 95 because that one is an L.E. Smith, and the people are, you know, it's interesting to me how brand specific people get with their collecting.
What about
That's why we talk a lot about the brands and who made what. Oh, it's got the stopper, but it's a plastic stopper, so I think that was a commercial bottle for probably some sort of wine pressed. So yeah, that was done to be a liquor bottle originally. I just sold the tray from this line, and here it is again. This is Cambridge glass. You can see the urn there. This is line 739. It never had an official name to it. But this is interesting because it has the candle holders built into the console bowl. This was a money-saving thing during the Depression, instead of having to have a separate pair of candlesticks. And boy, it's priced at only $17.50. It's very dusty. I think this has sat here a really long time. And that might be a clue that it's time for it to go home with someone else. That might be me. This is a really cool thing. This is the original Gold Crown gas pump cover. And this is an original one from the 1930s approximately. It is priced at $1,100. We see reproductions of these because people with the old gas pumps need them to restore their items, but you don't see originals too often. We'll be back at 5 minutes to 3. This is from an old Goodyear station. That's a neat thing. The steam whistle here is cool. That's priced at $400. This is what we see more. Reproduction globe on a very, very restored gas pump. But they are cool looking. Can't see the rubber face Santa without thinking of Barb from Winking Owl Antiques. $46. Oh, that looks like exactly JCPenney, and it's orange and it's a vacuum. I don't know, that has you all over it. Hostess wins. It's a cake, it's a candy, it's a chocolate flavored world. Because Donald Duck is in this, it does say Walt Disney Productions on the bottom as well. This is from the 1970s. Hostess and Disney had a deal for a while. At one time, this had a motor that made this crazy spinner go around. And that would have made it really cool, but it is not working. So it is priced at $25. If somebody knew how to fix such a thing, that could be a bargain. Shop refreshed Coca-Cola in bottles. I don't remember ever seeing this sign before. The pointing down would have been this being used over a display. It unfortunately has a crack. Otherwise it'd be worth a lot of money. Blue ball jars with lids. They have all 16 of them. They would be marked on the bottom, and a lot of people broke or threw away number 13 out of superstition.
The Wildlife Treasury. Remember this?
Oh, I do remember those being out.
Send you these cards, and it had all of the like phylogeny and stuff, and I would be like, I would annoy my teachers because I had these, and I would correct them.
Ah, that's funny. You know, teachers should have a little more sense of humor. I mean, I feel like I try to teach a lot, and sometimes I'm wrong, and people correct me, and it's great because then I learn too. But I have noticed that when you're really little, teachers don't always want to hear it. McCoy piece, cornucopia with the tassel. You don't see that form quite as often as some of their other pieces, and it is priced at $30. But everything in here is half off. So we'll take one more look and see if there's anything that we have to have. X-Mass coasters. I heard a very lengthy explanation from a linguist about how X actually used to be a reference, a short that was not meant to take away from Christmas. It was actually a representation based on some old linguistic lore. So it was not intended to take Christ out of Christmas, as people are fond of saying. But we've lost track of some of that, so now people get a little shook about such things. Believe it or not, this is a pair of scissors. Plastic scissors of Goofy. If they were in better shape, I'd take that to Florida with me. 20% off in this booth, and they have some stuff I like, particularly these Gillette cases, which I use at all my shows to hold little things. Now this one's not in perfect shape by any means, but they're so handy, but boy do they want a lot for that. Even in this condition, they are asking over $120. This is another neat Coca-Cola signed Art Deco, the clock from about 1940. Oh, let's see, half off booth 18.
He's indeed Viking.
No, they...
See the base?
They are not Viking.
Sanded off.
Yeah, they're new.
That's what I thought.
Well, I got excited because I saw half off. And then I saw the Gleaner bookends, which are neat and heavy and would hold books well. And it's a very famous scene. And then I looked, they're Judd and Company. And then I looked and they're still $50 with the discount. So now that they're at retail price, maybe a collector will buy them. If you're having fun taking these strolls down memory lane with me, well, please click the like button to let us know. Please do check out our membership packages as well. We're very grateful to our members who subscribe at one of 3 levels, and that little bit of extra support lets us do extra content for you. So thank you so much for your involvement. And if you're not subscribed, that's free. So please click that subscribe button, and then you can click the bell to be notified for future videos. I don't run into these very often. This is a Spanish metal relief panel. And this particular one, of course, is showing the Last Supper. This is priced at $175 with the discount. And it says it's early 20th century, and I think that's right looking at the framing. What else is in the half off space? Well, the big float is only $47.50. These do sell for more than that. This one might be something to take to Florida. My husband seemed too good to be true, and he wasn't. Aw, that's not good. This Harrods ashtray is so rare that it's $2. But it is original. And there are some other ashtrays. This one advertising the cigarette smoked Viceroy for that real tobacco taste. This one's $6. Now that might be buyable because it is advertising tobacco, which we're not allowed to do anymore. Not in the same way we used to. This is Louisville stoneware done for some homecoming in Tennessee. And this is also for a special event. They did a lot of special event stuff, but I was more interested in looking at this. Oh, have to be cleaned up, but I like the pigs. They're cute. It is a one-piece Delaware pattern from U.S. Glass Company from about 1890. And it's actually in great shape with most of the gilding. If it doesn't have any chips, because it's half price, that's so inexpensive, I think I would get it. Pattern glass is something a lot of modern folks are not really familiar with because it started to be collected back in the 1920s and 30s. So a lot of this is already in collections, but because it's a jar with a lid and could be used in a lot of different ways, I think for that price, that's a yes. I like this shelf. I wonder if they're selling these.
Not bad.
That's cute out of the 1930s with the painted rim and all.
I doubt they're selling them. They're tied together.
Yeah. Washington Senators. This has been eaten by moths, but it's the last year they were the Washington Senators. The joke was first in war, first in peace, and last in the American League. And it's $39. Ah, there were some. I like this set of shelves that have sold.
Like this.
Oh yeah, yeah. I've got counter cases. It's really these shelves, but these are not really particularly old. Now this one has some age and would be great in the center of a booth. $75 is a good price too, and it's tall, so you could put big things in it.
Lindsay B. Bakewell gets the credit for popularizing these neo-deco, Memphis-influenced, very, very geometric design busts in the 1980s.
Priced at $4.99. They also have a couple of really cool promo cars with the original boxes, but those prices are way up there. Talking Viewmaster was a new idea when GAF took over Viewmaster from Sawyer's in Portland, Oregon. They started doing other things with it, including these big units with the sound bar, and that's what was in there. It was $15.47 at Kmart when it was new, and now $99. It's a lot of Francoma. I like the shell that you just started to pick up. I wonder what the price on that is. I sold one recently. This looks like it's the Sepulpa clay because it's the dark, and that's $39. That's about what I sold mine for. The cactus candle holder is priced at $69, but this is one you don't see very often. It's an odd design, but it's got the prickly pear leaves, and this is the Ada clay in the tan as opposed to the red Sepulpa that I just showed you, and that is definitely more valuable when you find the Ada clay given two pieces of the same type. This is Weller Larber, and I wish they had the bowl, but it's nice to see the pedestal. If you had the bowl, the pedestals are not very common. They have it priced at $469, but then there's a line through it, so it may be on sale. Beautiful work, though, from about 1920, when you would have a nice little jardiniere on a pedestal by your front door. This one slumped in the kiln a little bit, and it's a little bit crooked. They're not all perfectly straight. Some Van Briggle pieces here. Basic things, but pieces I really enjoy. I like the brown tone. You really don't see a lot of it. I've always thought the 3-section vase was neat, and I especially like the 3-section bud vase where they're all linked together. All these prices are good. They're all in the $30 range, $35 range. Metropolitan Police wrist cuffs, $85. That's an interesting old set. They also have the Tower cuffs with the key up here, and they're asking $279 for those. In some states, antique firearms are legal to sell without any sort of restrictions. This dealer has made a point to say, do not dry fire or snap the antique guns because it will damage them. These are really meant to be in collections. It's not something that somebody is probably going to use in a fit of pique, thankfully. This one's a really hard one to find. It is a little pocket size 32, which was definitely meant to be concealed. I like these Bakelite spacers and bangles here. The spinach green is a nice color. I also really like this lucite or acrylic one in the pink with the rhinestones. Prices are all in the $40 range, so that's going to leave them here for me. We have some yellow-green Vaseline glass from the all the way back to the late 1800s actually. This opal swirl with the little pink edge and the opalescent, and then 1930s for the sandwich plate here. Also for the daisy and button pattern there. And they have several pieces just sort of scattered around the booth. Somebody must have been a collector at one time. These were done by Gibson Glass in the 1990s when Vaseline glass started really being collected again. That's about the time that the first people doing blacklight collections caught on to it. 1950s, some German stereo equipment came to the United States, and it had a very cool modern look. This one's a big old shortwave radio with all the different bands in this neat case. This is a Sabo, and this one says that it works, and they have it priced at $9.99. The market really depends on the maker and the condition of these pieces. I really like the old counter displays. This is Frank Siddle's soap. It's priced at $3.95 because it's got really great graphics inside. A lot of times the graphics are inside the box because they were meant to be opened as store displays. And when the box was closed, it was just for shipping to Port Clyde. Don't break the lid in opening it. Well, someone was almost careful, but they did break the lid in opening it, so it got repaired. A long time ago. I would say that is an old repair. Funny to think that at one time Milky Ways came in this box, and the big deal was that they showed where they were made. Some pretty old die cabinets up here. The Putnam on the right here we see probably the most often because they made this same design for many, many years. That one's a 20th century one for $275. This one with Rit is going to be from about 1920, and that is priced at $300. And then this one with the flapper from the, looks like maybe about 1930 because the clothes seem long, priced at $350. A whole shelf of Easter. Everybody's been thinking Christmas because we're just coming out of that season, but Easter is a big old collecting time, and I like the paper mache duck candy containers in the back there. Those are German post-war. They are priced between $60 and $65. I see another little guy down there. The door is cool, you're right. And it has a few door pushes on it. A whole bunch, actually. This is advertising when you went into stores and little general stores in the old days. It was right there, so you push the door open and fair made is good bread is the last thing you see before you enter. This is on sale for $14.50, and you know, it's hard to find these without the signs having been taken off at this point, and it's a large size, so I could see somebody using that in an architectural setting. I've had a glass spinning barber's pole before. I haven't had this porcelain one that just stuck out from the edge of the building, but this is, if you didn't have electricity to rig up, this is what you put out, and this is by the Marvey Company out of St. Paul, Minnesota. They were big in the barber supply industry for many, many years. This should date to about, 1940. Yeah, you never see those with all the little dogs attached because they fell off and got broken. So finding a complete one in good shape is not that easy to do anymore, actually. They also had versions of this, they hang on those tiny little ceramic hooks, and all you had to do was move it about 2 feet and drop it. And they also had ones where they were shot glasses that hung on there, but this one's even harder to find than the shot glass one. And they are asking, well, they were asking $69, but there's a slash through it, so the orange slash means it is only going to be $50 now. I want you to see this because the dealer has been very honest with us that this is not old, and I want you to know that because it is fairly heavy and it's got chips and rust in places you would expect where the holes are. So this damage has been faked. If you look at the back, well, not a lot of clues there either. But if you looked at a catalog of reproduction signs, well, then you would know, because you would see that you can order these by the boatload. Most of the other signs that this dealer has are genuine and old, and I think it's really great that they made a point to point out the one that wasn't, because then that makes me feel confident in buying the rest of them if I were in the market, which I could be. A lot of these seem to have come from out in the West Coast and the Northwest. A whole lot of Fenton artware and other things on this shelf. 30% off all items. This is a very pretty fairy lamp. I just sold it in custard glass. Shiny, pretty pieces. This looks like a later artware piece here, priced at $89 minus 30%. So some of these prices are not bad, because we know that there's a lot of this that's very popular now. Lotus Mist basket with the butterfly painting. After the discount is going to be about $125. That seems like a perfectly reasonable right now price for these. I also have some old Fenton. Here is a neat piece. This is the Ming pattern from the 1930s where they used an acid etch. I've seen it on clear, but I like it on the pink. That's the console bowl. It's deliberately a little bit off center. And then these were the candlestick holders, which are cornucopia shaped. And this set with the discount is only about $95. I really do enjoy silhouettes. This one with the biplanes is something a little bit different. They have it priced a little higher because of that. Most of the larger ones are priced around $30 and the smaller ones around $20. Those are pretty typical prices we see in retail stores for these. This one has the milkweed background. And this one is an original paper cut silhouette with the woman in the birdcage. This would have been hard to do. It's priced at $60. I am in love with the barbershop sign. It must be 16 feet long. Art Deco letters from the 1930s that somebody had put together into this sign. I don't know whether it's for sale. I'd love to have it. I don't know what I'd do with it. It's awfully big. This mauve and blue piece back here is Royal Hickman, who did a lot of the designs for Hager. And it's 30% off, a very low price to begin with. So I want to check it out for condition. But that seems pretty interesting to me. Well, we sure have had a lot of fun here at Bright's, haven't we, ladies? They're still having fun here, but I found some really cool stuff and I'm very excited. I will be taking it to shows in Florida and maybe selling some of it online, so you'll get to take a look too. Thanks so much for joining us.
If you enjoyed this video, check out this one. Also, click thumbs up to like this video and check the description for information about our Patreon, our memberships. We've got a lot of different levels with different perks and bonus videos and early content. Also, please do check out our website, theantiquenomad.com, for appraisal help. And we'll see you again for more adventures in the antique and vintage community soon. Bye for now.